not too sure about the defense going into the spring. There was some question marks, but you knew you had some talent there, and I think the biggest concern was losing Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas. And I just want to get straight to the point here and be bold. I want to give a hot take on the Mark Rogers show to get things going, to get ready for the spring game, get ready for a fun weekend ahead. You lose Jermaine Johnson, but you have Jared Verse, and it is now officially Jared Verse's time. This is it. He's not just not just 1 year. You've got a couple years with him. And I think with losing Jermaine Johnson, you replace him with Jared Verse. I think now the biggest question is now who's going to be your number 2 defensive end over there? Is that going to be Derek McLendon? Could it be a young Pat Payton? Is it going to be Dennis Briggs once he's fully healthy and ready to go? But right now, I'm not seeing anything far off from what I've been seeing at practices. I'm not seeing anything different than what Jermaine Johnson was doing this last fall than what I'm seeing with Jared Verse. I'm not. The last couple of practices have been absolutely the Jared Verse show. And yesterday, I just continue, and James has seen it too, but maybe not so much. I don't know. He hasn't been to the last 2 practices, but this has been an absolutely debut show for Jared Verse because guess what? He's getting more time with the ones. He's getting more time and opportunities and different schemes, and he's taking every advantage of it. I mean, he's tossing kids with one arm and then going and grabbing Jordan Travis, not easy to tackle with his other arm. He did this yesterday. He went back. It reminds me of when Clowney came through against Michigan and just absolutely blew up the handoff and blew up the running back. Obviously, no hitting is really too much allowed. There's some thuds and stuff going on, and these guys are starting to get pissed off at each other and getting irritated because it's spring. You're facing the same guy over and over again, and you're not facing a different opponent every week like fall. And, these offensive linemen are not so happy with Jared Verse. He's a guy that will flex on you. He likes talking trash to you. He'll let you know if he just made a play, and then he'll do it again, which he did yesterday in the red zone defense, collecting another sack back-to-back on 4th down. You lose Jermaine Johnson, yes. You got Jared Verse. That's all I'm going to say. I hope he gets a lot of snaps on Saturday for people to see, so then I don't look too crazy, or everybody will just have to wait until the fall. But I'm hoping that people will get a little glimpse of what this guy number 5 is, who's an absolute animal. When he's off the field, when he's on the sideline, he's chirping at the offense. He's jumping up, and he doesn't stop moving. He's jumping up and down, jumping up. He's talking. It's like a Jermaine Johnson player on the field, but he's more vocal than Jermaine was. Jermaine was a little bit more collected, but when looking at Jared, he's a guy that kind of likes to tick you off, and I think it's starting to marinate over to some of the other defensive linemen, like a Jarrett Jackson, who we saw last year, not really a talkative guy. For some reason, the last couple of practices, he's been in guys' faces. He's had 2 back-to-back sacks yesterday. I think had a fumble recovery, which he would have taken back for 6. It's starting to translate to some of these other defensive linemen, and you're starting to see a different kind of tenacity. But I had to start off hot there with Jared.
But you actually didn't. Before we introduce James Coleman into the show, let me explain to you what a hot take is. If you're going to come out and declare that you've got a hot take, we need the hot take. Is the hot take that Jared Verse is going to have more sacks than Jermaine Johnson? Is it that what is the hot take? You literally just said that he's good.
I think the hot take is that how do I say it? If I say that Jared Verse and Jermaine Johnson are on the same caliber of level,